It's like, all right, cold open, you pan down and you see a room, and it's the Rules of Villainy committee room. And people are discussing which cards will get what Rules of Villainy. And it's Hades, Maleficent in the room, but it's us. We're dressed up as them because, you know, we got good special effects like episode 1 Star Wars special effects. Welcome, villains, to Rules of Villainy, episode 98. I'm Villain Bench, and joined as always by your favorite villain, Villain Andy, and the mayor of Lorcana himself, Brad. How's it going tonight?
Still wondering why Andy's the favorite. Why is he the favorite villain? Vince, I'm going to ask you this every week.
Well,
more importantly, what happened to the punchline of that cold open? You said it pans to us, and we're dressed as the villains, and we're arguing over who gets what villain.
It's like, wait, either people are going to be very confused about this, or what is the? I didn't intend to be included. I hadn't fleshed the idea out. All right, I was like filibustering the start of the episode. All right.
I thought you were like, going into detail. You opened like really well. The camera has panned down. We're all there in
you know
costume.
what? Okay, you pan down, you go in, and you've got me there. And I have to tell you guys, this is my last episode for Rules of Villainy, because one of the rules on the card is can't be 40 and over and play Lorcana. So unfortunately,
you're aging out.
This is the end of the line, buddy.
Well, the good news is Vince didn't really play Lorcana all too much anyway. He judged and he casted and he hung out and ran events, tournament organized and stuff. So there'll still be plenty of jobs for you, Vince. But at least now, if you lose a match, you can just blame it on advanced age. Advanced age.
Yeah. I'm just a year behind you. Like, we both have a birthday coming up, and I don't know what I'm going to do my last year in my 30s. It's going to be.
Wow. I just want to stop counting. Stop the count. Stop the count. But that's the way we go. Should we talk about some news though? Should we get into Underworld news?
I love news.
WrestleMania is still going on. And Andy and Kirsten, I believe, are still rocking along, representing the Rules of Villainy as we go along into round 3 of WrestleMania. Unfortunately, the mayor tapped out in round 1 to Ink-born Heroes.
I heard a bell.
You heard the KO.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the Mortal Kombat arcade game when I was a kid.
Charlie from Ink-born Heroes just like reaching into Brad's chest and ripping his heart out Indiana Jones style and taking a bite out of it. Like,
I don't remember any of that.
In its 16-bit glory.
All in PS1 graphics.
But unfortunately, I got knocked out in round 2 to Enchanted Kim. But it was a good fun match. As I told them, I go, that wheel doesn't like me. The sets I got, not so great.
Yeah,
not so great.
I didn't think mine were going to be great either, but they were good enough, and they were better than Vince's. When I looked at Vince's, his were real bad. Wish Vince was my opponent. Would have been even easier. But no, I was able to take down El Jefe. Great guy, great player. We chatted and stuff. We did a live stream, so you can go watch that back on our YouTube if you'd like to check it out. He was on Sapphire Steel. I was on Amethyst Steel. Had a great time. It was a lot of fun building the deck.
Yeah.
And I made my promo video which if you haven't
those are
seen,
fun.
you got to check it out on Instagram. It did not.
The laser eyes.
Yeah, it did not go through on YouTube. There's like it's gotta be less than a minute, or YouTube gets really mad about music and content and stuff. So
that's right.
we kept
right.
getting
Yeah,
blocked.
they've got like they
for
give you like
using-
a little bit of a gap, but then after that they're like, nope, sorry.
So I couldn't spit bars a little faster, but I threw down some, words of intimidation at El Jefe. One of my finer edits. I liked it.
I would say they would demonetize us, but hey, by the way, that's a good segue into subscribe. If you're not already, before you go, I see our graphs and I see how as the episode goes on, people just leave as it goes on, but I'm catching you early right now because I know you listen here. So you hit that subscribe button before you go. Just wait. Hold on.
There's more.
Yeah, there's more to do. Hit that subscribe button. And then you can enjoy your day. Listen to us later.
How many episodes until welcome to subscribe, please? Rules of Villainy.
Listen, I should have put it in the show notes. I should have put a reminder that after I did the intro to say, hey, wait, subscribe. Because I thought about it today.
Just change the word welcome to subscribe. Subscribe to Rules of Villainy.
Well, the thing is I listen to so many podcasts. That's my TV. That's what I do day in, day out. And they all in the beginning minute they're like subscribe, and it's like, all right, I'll subscribe, and then I realize I've already subscribed, and you can only subscribe once, unfortunately. Well, you can subscribe once with one email, so I guess go wild.
Whoa! Just tell your friends, tell your friends, tell your family, your siblings, cousins, aunts. Let them know about your favorite Lorcana podcast, and let them know that if they subscribe to us, that will make us happy.
Yeah.
And we like being
and
happy.
If they're curious about what this Lorcana, what is Lorcana? I get asked that all the time about my family. It's like I play this trading card game, and then you have to explain what a trading card game is to a lot of people too. And then I'm like, well, it's Lorcana, and then it's like, well, it's Disney, and they're like, oh, Disney, cool.
That's why you got to say the full name, bitch. You can say Disney Lorcana, and then
but they glaze over the Disney Lorcana. With a Disney Lorcana, they just focus on the word that they don't get, which is the Lorcana part.
Walt Disney Lorcana.
Okay. Anyway, all right, we're not even through Underworld news, and we've already derailed, and that's partly my fault. Let's get on to our. I mean, by simple math, you can see we're at episode 98. 2 episodes more, we're at our 100th episode, which is going to be live. What'd I say? Live. And it's going to be live, and we're doing it. This is going to be June 12th. That's a Friday. So mark your calendars. We're going to be here. It's going to be us. And I don't know, maybe guests. We haven't decided because we kind of we fly by the seat of our pants here. Rules of Villainy.
Not wrong.
We're doing it live for a reason.
We are doing it live. So we're excited to do that. And then on Sunday, we're doing an ROV Infinity event on Sunday, June 14th, which if you're near the St. Louis area, you should come and play. It is going to be at the Impact Gaming Center in Fairview Heights, Illinois. We're going to have a whole bunch of our prizing. We're doing our patented, ticketed Rules of Villainy ticketing system, prize wall-esque way of doing things, and nobody does it like the Rules of Villainy. I'm just gonna say it's amazing, and it's phenomenal, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And you know what, honestly, I haven't decided. Either the Sunday we do the set champs there at Impact, or this event, probably this event, even though it's a little later. I'll bring a cake for my 40th birthday, so we'll have cake.
Yeah, or we'll bring a cake for you. You don't need to buy your own cake. Yeah, you do it. But most importantly, about the Infinity event on the weekend of the 14th, it is the week before DLC Indianapolis. So it is great practice for everybody here in the community and further out, if you can make your way in, to come in, test that final Infinity deck that you're thinking about, and putting it to some of the really great players that we have in the area and see if you are comfortable with taking it there, any tweaks that you need to make, but ultimately just having a great day playing Disney Lorcana with us here at Impact Gaming Center.
Annie and I will be casting it. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll have some other casters too, which will be announced at a later date. But also too, I think we're going to have details again, still TBD, haven't been fully fleshed out, but potentially might have some bountiers at the event as well.
Ooh,
which will be really exciting. So we're going all out for this event. So you know what? I know you're thinking about Dortmund. You're like, that's where I'm going to learn about the Infinity format, and I'm just going to let you know. You should watch it. You should absolutely watch that content. It's going to be great. But it's also going to be the first weekend of Set Champs here in the United States. So you're probably going to be busy doing that and potentially busy watching our own stream doing Set Champs here. But that's Europe. That's the Europeans. You want to get right on the ground. You want to watch the best games getting played to prepare for DLC Indianapolis. You got to watch the stream that we're going to do on Sunday, June 14th.
Hopefully we're hosting a Golden Mickey winner, Aiden, if he's available that night or that day. Always fun to watch. You never know what he's going to bring, but you know that you're going to probably lose to him, regardless of what he's playing. So,
well, and also Dortmund, Germany is approximately 7 hours ahead of St. Louis in our time zone, and potentially more or less depending on where you are listening from. And so, there's a very real possibility that like Dortmund is, not started yet or coming to an end. So be sure to
Disney Lorcana all day.
That's true. That's true. I mean, it is one of those things that it's like the Jeremy Bearimy of time. It works very weird. As we move on, speaking of things that are coming up, I don't know if you all saw, there's the Toy Story promo. There's Buzz Lightyear to be given out in AMC theaters and select LGS stores. It is actually the weekend of the DLC Indianapolis, but they're giving them out at select AMC theaters for purchase of a ticket to go see it. And if you go to an LGS store and you buy 2 packs of Wilds Unknown and play Pack Rush, you can get a promo. It's a pretty cool little thing that they're doing.
So if you live in or around the Indianapolis area and your LGS is going to be having a Pack Rush event, let us know. Friday night, after the main side event on Friday night finishes, we all pile in the car and head to the LGS and play a quick couple rounds of Pack Rush, get ourselves a promo, open a couple packs.
We should already get the promo though, because your wife is planning for us to all go see Toy Story 5.
Oh yeah,
that Thursday night.
Yeah, she said that she said something about Greg Tito was renting out an entire
that's right.
Theater for all the villains.
No, I mean, I think that's great. It's so nice of him. He's a great community ambassador. Really have to give him kudos there. But yeah, I'm very excited. But send us photos though of your event. Join our Discord, which we'll talk more about in a minute. But send us photos of you doing these fun Pack Rush events and getting your promo or going to see the movie Toy Story 5, which is going to be hopefully really great and fun. I'm excited about it. Maybe we'll show some of those photos in one of our live streams or on the podcast at the end. With that, let's move on to Constituents Corner.
Thank you, Vince. Our first question comes from Megan from Team Rules of Villainy asking, if you could design a year of DLCs, what would it look like?
You should take this. I feel like I've been speaking this entire time.
You have. No, that's totally fine.
We got him.
No, I sorry.
He does this all the time.
I lost myself.
He's
I
so
lost.
mean to me.
Brad was
No,
too
I'm not mean.
concentrated on
Sorry.
the bully that he
Yeah.
wasn't paying attention to the question.
He's such a bully.
I commend
Maybe
Brad.
you know
It was
what?
a good
You know
one.
what?
It was a good burn. All right.
You know what though, Andy? I have to say, I think now at the beginning here, you may no longer actually be the folks' favorite villain because, as somebody rightly pointed out, mayors can be villains, and I think Brad is trying to show that he's a true villain at heart here.
Yeah, sure am. Andy, why don't you take it? I'm lost. I lost myself here with bullying.
If I could design a year of DLCs, what would it look like? And it says within reason. Of course, we can't have a DLC every day.
Sure.
I don't think my bank account could afford a DLC every day. But I would love to see a DLC with every set. So I think there's 4 sets in a year, right? So that would be 4 DLCs in a year. I think it would be really nice to see the set get released X amount of time, set championships, and then a DLC. So that we get this kind of nice crescendo, build up of, okay, we're all opening the packs, we're doing sealed, this is so much fun, and then, all right, I'm building decks, I'm testing them, all right, I'm practicing them, I'm refining them, I'm getting them ready for set champs. Okay, I'm playing in set champs, I'm correcting my mistakes, I'm winning set champs, I'm adjusting for the meta, and now I've won a set champs or 2, I'm feeling confident, and now I go to the DLC and I get to bring all of that knowledge and that deck I've mastered to the DLC. Boom. Do that 4 times. I think there could be an argument that like you need championships in there, and you need to fit worlds in there as well, in theory, in some way. So I don't really know how the math works out for that. There's a possibility that you just have championships and worlds mushed in there somewhere. Just mush them in. It'll be fine. Just squish them in there. But yeah, I think that's what I would ideally like to see. I don't think we need more than 1 DLC per set. Right? That seems greedy and expensive and a lot to travel to. Maybe if anything, we have 2 DLCs at the same time. Maybe if they want to expand DLCs so that there's not 3 DLCs that are hard to get to for people regionally. If CCQs aren't enough for a lot of people, which I know they aren't for me, then let's have 6 DLCs, but they can be 1 in California and 1 in New York on the same weekend, and now you're bouncing back and forth between games in both.
Yeah.
And then if a game ends early, you can just head over, and there's a New York broadcast and there's a California broadcast. I don't know. I mean,
but
maybe I'm
competing with each other, right? Like that's
maybe.
that's really hard to do. It's
I
hard enough when they're doing overseas at the same time, as we've had a few of those overlapping too, right?
Well, you also have to think about this, that none of any of what they're doing is basically making them any money, right?
Yeah,
everything in a DLC, like DLCs make money, championships make money, worlds, if it's public, will make money and stuff. But like the streams don't make money. They're not, collecting subs. They're not collecting, donations. They're not advertising anything. It's not Disney Disney Lorcana DLC brought to you by Kia, right? Like it's it's like it. So all of this production basically is at a loss or an expense to them. So when you say they're competing with each other, they don't really care. But
certainly they do. Like the player bases and stuff too. Like there's a whole lot. I think is hard. Like when you're splitting all of that up, you got to worry about, I don't think that they wouldn't fill, each one of them, but like, with the demand that we have in a single one, that like one would question, could we do two of these at the same time? But then the resources and everything that goes into planning all of that, I feel like is just at this stage of the game right now is kind of bonkers to think about. Like
it all would require a lot more resources, which I know Ravensburger doesn't have, and I understand a company isn't going to just blindly throw a ton of resources at something, that it has to build up naturally, and that's why I think a lot of the issues people have had with Ravensburger or Disney Lorcana over the years have just been, to me, they all seem like they're very easily explained by, a lack of resources, right? One person who's doing the job of 5 people, and they're doing a good job of it, but they're only doing a good job of 1 or 2 things, and then they have to move on to the other 2 things, and then they're kind of juggling around. It's not ideal. They're getting more people. We got Greg Tito. We got a weekly lorecast now. We've got all this production stuff. They're investing more and more into it. And so I could see in the future a potential solution to the problem of, think about how many people in Richmond, how many people didn't go, not only because they couldn't get a ticket, but how many people didn't go because Richmond is so far away from California, Seattle, Oregon, Texas.
That's why we need one in St. Louis,
Canada, right? So if there was a DLC in San Francisco at the same time as a DLC in Richmond, I think not only would you get overflow, so now if you can't, if you live in St. Louis and you're equidistant from both of them, you say, okay, which one can I get a ticket for? But you get all the East Coast people would much rather travel to Richmond. All the West Coast people are going to much rather travel to, California, and you're going to end up with 2,000 plus person tournaments. And I mean, Ravensburger, again, isn't trying to maximize profits on like airtime of these streams. They make the most amount of money by getting as many people as they can in a building to do these events, right? So the more the better, and it just seems really hard. Imagine if there was 2 DLCs per set, 8 DLCs in a year. We did 6 in the first year. Even just imagine 6 plus continent, championships plus worlds. That's 8 events in 1 year. You're going traveling for a weekend, $100 plus entry weekend for, $800 if you're doing VIP for 8 out of 12, 75% of the year.
Yeah.
3 out of every 4 months. Is that right? Does that make sense? 8 trips, 12 months. You're gone 8 times.
Sounds way too expensive.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know.
I only went to 2 of the 3 this year, and like I'm just like, I'm already questioning just that's not the question, but yeah, I don't know. That sounds like way too much. Like they even think about there being too much, because I think they got to think about affordability when it comes to, for not just them being able to host these events throughout the year, but then all the people who they want to have the maximum amount of people come. They want it to be a huge event. They want it to be successful. They want people to have a good time, and having multiple on the same day would certainly be something. Like if I didn't go to either of them, now I have a party of interest. I'm like, which one do I watch? I mean, I guess
flip back and forth.
You've done like that. The NFL Red Zone,
let me ask you this. You talk about it in a cost for Ravensburger or whatever. Vince, you're Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, and me and Brad are Ravensburger, and we're coming to you and we're showing you all of the data we have from every DLC we've done in the past, and we say, if you give us, I don't know, let's just say it's like $100,000, right? It's probably more than that, right? It's probably 200 grand. Let's say it's 200 grand. We'll run a DLC and we'll be able to make $1 million off of it, right? how many DLCs would you like to buy and make and make 80% profit off of or whatever?
Well, it's a bad example with Mr. Wonderful because he would then ask the question of which city's giving the best tax breaks.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think your point is well taken. Honestly, I think Andy, your idea though of one DLC each set probably makes the most sense realistically and logistically. And I think just the way you do that when you talk about seasons is the DLCs are just going to overlap, right? Like you're just going to have a DLC come out and like, so for instance, let's assume we're doing that in this context. To give an example is whatever like the next set, which is Attack of the Vine, that there would be a DLC for that, and that DLC will be for season 3. Meanwhile, we're finishing up doing season 2.
Championships would be a month later or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so you'll have some overlap for that, but that way there's like the progression is going on. And honestly, like I get the sense maybe that's the direction they kind of want to go because we do know that there's going to be a CCQ at D23 that is going to be specifically for season 3. And so that kind of opens up the possibility that the seasons aren't going to be as neatly defined. It's not we're going to end season 2 and then start season 3. Season 3 is going to start in the midst of finishing out season 2. And I think in that sense you can do one each kind of quarter basically as a set gets released. I think what I would like though Lorcana to do, though a lot of events have kind of popped up, these CCQs have popped up to fill that gap, and I don't want to see a lot of these great stores and communities that have arisen to create these CCQs lose the opportunity. But I do think there is an opportunity for more regional focused events, something kind of in between a set champs and a DLC that is more regionally focused. That's something like, we could say it's like, yes, we're going to go to, Springfield, Illinois or whatever, or people are going to come to St. Louis, Missouri, for instance, to do a regional event. And then, you have your DLCs, you pick one, put one in like the West Coast area, you put one maybe in Canada, you put one on the East Coast, and you put somewhere like Midwest-ish. So that at least one DLC is accessible for each kind of part of the country and stuff. So it'll certainly, like, I think, make more calculus on whether or not we can always go to them, because some of these are probably going to be a little bit more expensive to go to and stuff, much in the same way that we had to make these calculations in season 1, right? Like, there were 6 of them. They were kind of geographically all over the place. You had to make a calculus like, do I go to the one in Atlanta? And if I do that, do I go to the one in Chicago? If I do that, there's then, Dallas, and then there's, Las Vegas. I think they did Toronto, Seattle, right? So you kind of have to pick and choose, like, which ones am I going to? And we had that happen here in our community. Some folks went to Dallas and Vegas. Some people went to Seattle and, Atlanta. And, we all made our choices about how we did that. And I think folks will have to do that. And I think what they can then do, though, is increase the size of the existing DLCs as well. So you make 4 of them and you increase the size. Debatable about how big you want them to get, because I do think there comes a point where they can get too big, right? You want them to finish in a reasonable amount of time. Yeah. And so you do have some, like, things you have to be concerned about there. But I think the big thing for me is I know there were a lot of complaints going into season 2 that we didn't have that we had half amount of DLCs as we did. And the other complaint was they weren't geographically representative. And I take both those points, but having now experienced it, I gotta say, and I'm fortunate in the sense that they are all kind of easily accessible to us, but now I've been able to go to all, or will have been able to go to all 3 of them that were in this season. And it didn't feel like it was overwhelming. Whereas like you do have to make those choices when you're looking at more DLCs. And so in some ways there's kind of a flip side to make it a little bit more accessible. And it's nice to see your friends 3 times a year rather, or 4 times a year versus, 2 times a year, because I can only go to 2 out of the 6 of them that exist.
I love how accessible the cities were too. Besides just location, like cost wise, that's one of the big turnoffs for me of the Disneyland championships. It's such a great idea. I love it. But man, if LA and Disneyland in California isn't an expensive place to have to travel to and get lodging at, and you also kind of want to take in the town a little bit, so it's not a cheap place. So I kind of like the I don't want to offend any Milwaukee, Indianapolis, or Richmondians here, but these sort of B rate, B tier cities, I kind of like them. I think they're actually really good. They're not very expensive. They actually have a lot of good qualities to them. A lot of heart, a lot of chutzpah. So
I really liked Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
One thing I wanted to. One thing I really wanted to say, just to kind of wrap it up and touch on, you almost lost me at the beginning there, Andy, when you were talking about there being a set championship or being a DLC every set with the set championships before you made it see the what you call it, a crescendo of like leading up to it, because I'm tired of the DLCs overlapping with the set championships where we have it this time around, right? We're all losing a week with the set championships, who are a very coveted mat and card that we all want. Vince especially with the Woody, a whole weekend of not having a chance of getting those. But I do like the idea of like you have your pre-release, you have your time to build and test out at your locals, and then you have your set championships to fine tune your decks up to the big DLC. And one thing that always kind of lingers in my mind was a cool idea that Brett and Katie had on Smorkana, who I miss dearly. I hope they start making content again, but I know they've had a lot of life changes, a nice little baby in their lives now. But one of their episodes they ended with when getting tickets was really hard to get at these DLCs or for these DLCs. It's gotten considerably better, but still, and some difficult to some. But they had this idea where at a set championship or some kind of a regionalized event like Vince was talking about, the winner would get a specific like a card that was just like a free entry into one of these events or some kind of thing. And that would be something like perfect, like a scratch off, like you were the champion. Here's your playmat. Here's your special envelope with a code inside. So when you can register for this DLC in a month from now, which might be a little bit more time because you need planning for housing and travel and all this stuff too. But like, it gives that sense of purpose of like, okay, I learned the new set, I practiced the new set, I succeeded with the new set in the set championships, and now I'm going off to a DLC to really test it out in the big leagues, and that sounds like a lot of fun. I really like that idea, but the logistics.
I mean, they did do that though. They've done that with the DLC queue in Oceania. They had the DLC queue for New Zealand, and whoever won that,
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
got everything paid, expenses paid, and an entry for the Melbourne event. In fact, I actually think they also got like a first round buy or something like that, which I'm actually not as
Andy started on that.
Keen on that. Like
there's no way.
Let's not do that.
There's no way. I think we would have seen people talking about that for sure.
I have to look it up. Well, you guys talk. Yeah, I'll look it up.
And it's not terribly important because that was like a big prize, like you said, all expenses paid, essentially trip to a DLC. Brad's just talking about like the right to buy a ticket, right? It would be nice if like, I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm not being inclusive to the new players of Disney Lorcana. And I think the attendee badge is perfect for that. In fact, I think they should have it baked in that there's the ability for people to walk up and show up that day. And they should like advertise it around the city, right? Like they should make it this thing where you can show up and be like, oh, the convention's in town. I'm going to go down and take a look at it. And, pay $10 and get in and, see what's going on. And
okay. So sorry, I just wanted to interject here. So first place, this is for the DLC in Auckland, the DLC queue in Auckland. The first place got a 2-round buy in the Australia Challenge event, and second and fourth place received a 1-round buy.
what? That's absolutely insane. Are you
And
kidding me?
from what I understand, having gone down to Australia, because I met some folks that went to that event, it only had like 200 and some odd folks. It wasn't even that big.
Yeah, so it's a very developing market, right? Like I think it's grown quite a bit since the first one, right?
Well, it's also like, in fairness, one of the problems they have there too is they don't have the same like convention kind of market that we have here in the United States nor in Europe. So it's really hard for them to actually hold very large events.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't want to get started on it because the idea that someone won an event.
No, yeah, I just wanted to set the record straight.
3 wins in a 400-person event with a world's invite on the line is bonkers. It's just like you basically you get 2 free wins. You just like win 2 or 3 more games, and then you're just like top seed for all of Top Cut. It's just that's crazy, bro. I did not realize that was happening, but yeah, overall, that's pretty cool. I would love to hear what you guys think of what your ideal DLC, what your ideal season for Disney Lorcana would look like. How many DLCs, are you any improvements you think could be made over the way they are currently running the season, or predictions of what you think they might be working towards? Let us know in the comment. Maybe jump in the Discord, start a thread.
But before we end this, I just want to ask one quick question here, because I want to highlight a question or a point here that Megan asked, which is that she's feeling bummed about this being a dead set. In your ideal scenario, and I'll ask you Brad first, and then get Andy. Would any of your DLCs be Infinity?
Let's see how DLC Indianapolis goes first. I do not know. I don't know what I'm gonna play in Indianapolis, and I am not putting in the work to actually do great in Indianapolis because there's just too many cards, and it feels like the meta's wide open. I don't know. Like, I like the idea of Infinity, especially for new players and people who want to play with their cards and have access to all these cool cards that they missed. If they're coming in now, 13 sets in, or 12 to 13 sets in. But I don't know. I would be less excited if it's Infinity, I think, because I'm most excited for Indianapolis because of the event, because of all of our friends, just the game that we love shining brightly, everybody there having a good time playing it. But I'm more attracted to core right now. I'm having more fun in core, and I can't see myself getting excited for Infinity, but Indianapolis might change that. So I don't know.
I feel like we could probably edit in the clip of Brad saying, I don't really know what deck I'm going to play, leading up to every DLC he's ever gone to.
That's also true.
Regardless, Infinity Core doesn't matter. So, not sure how much weight that statement has to, but no. I think for me, ideally, the answer would be no, that all of the DLCs would be core constructed. However, I will caveat that by saying, I personally agree with the vision that Ravensburger has, that Ryan Miller has stated that the winner, the world champion of Disney Lorcana, is not just the world champion of core constructed Disney Lorcana. I think somewhere along the line, you need to be tested on the other formats that exist in Disney Lorcana, whether that is sealed, draft, pack rush, Infinity, core constructed, Three Wishes format, the heroic format, any of these formats that we might add in the future, anything else that gets added on, I think absolutely is fair game. Essentially, to become a competitive, you need to be the best at all Disney Lorcana. So I think in my ideal scenario, there would be paths for players that are strongest in those formats. There would be paths for them to advance through the circuit. So maybe
right.
if we're giving free DLC attendance to winners of set champs, maybe we give attendee attendance to winners of sealed events, right? And a ticket for a free sealed event at a DLC. Maybe we have large scale sealed events or limited events of some sort that gain you an invite to championships, right? To nationals, right? Of some sort. So I don't think I would want to dedicate an entire DLC because, like Megan said, it creates a dead set. But I do think other formats are important.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sums up my ideal thing would be as DLCs are core constructed, but on that Friday event, rather than doing this like usually they do another core constructed, just do an Infinity event, and whoever wins that event can get a CCQ. I mean, an invite to nationals.
Yeah,
like we can expand nationals to be more open.
We already have, right, from season 1 to 2.
So why not do that, and then we solve that problem.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, that's it for Constituents Corner. If you want your questions answered, please feel free to comment below or join our Discord where we have a thread called Constituents Corner. You can ask your questions there. A lot of conversations develop, and they can make it on the air. So, if
you're lucky enough, your question can be featured in a single question, 40-minute long Constituents Corner segment on one of our upcoming episodes. We really went in depth on that question, Megan. We really hope
it's a good
that,
question.
It was a good question.
Yeah.
It was a really good question.
If we missed any part of that question that you'd like us to elaborate on, sorry, deal with it.
It was such a good question.
Don't bring
any more
the
first two lines of it, and it just went straight to the question. So thank you, Vince, for going back.
Vince brought us back.
And
we answered every word and piece of punctuation in this entire question.
All right, let's get to the.
Can we talk about the emoji
here
at the end of the question?
We're gonna. Our main segment here is we're going to talk about the latest developments in the metagame. And with this, actually, I'm going to kick it over to Andy to start off our discussion of the metagame.
Yeah, I figured I was watching YouTube the other day, sitting on my couch. I'd just gotten home, just gotten back off of my first place victory at an 18-person Infinity format. And I was watching my favorite Lorcana channel, Rules of Villainy, and I was watching the local meta report, and there's a really handsome host on there who was like talking about some of the best decks in the area, and he brought up this Ruby Sapphire list, and I was like, man, that list looks mighty familiar. And then it turns out it was my list, and Brad was like, maybe we'll talk about this on the podcast. And so I was like, well, I guess now we have to talk about this on the podcast. So the DLC is coming up, right? I know we're gonna have to talk about Core Constructed at some point, maybe next week, right? But we're all Infinity right now. The whole competitive team, a lot of the people in the area. We had this Infinity Win-a-Box event, and I figured let's talk about one of the best decks. The deck I played, I have the most experience on it. I feel like I can talk fairly knowledgeable on it, and we'll just do like a little mini live Metafy guide, right? We'll start off by disclaiming that any of the information I give you in here may very well be wrong. I am pretty dumb. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, we're going to move on, and we're going to talk like we know what's going on here. So I played Ruby Sapphire actions, Shark Manor. I shouldn't say actions because that's like the crazy one with Robin Hood. Brad thought I had Robin Hood in my deck. He's wild.
I thought you did.
I did last set in core.
Yeah,
I played that at a set chance. It was fun. But
do you have the enchanted Leviathan in that deck though?
I don't own an enchanted Leviathan. I would put it in there if I had it. You know me.
You know who has one, right?
Yeah, the other Brad.
And Reed.
Do you, Vince?
No, Reed.
Reed has one.
Reed
you
has
traded one to Reed. Well, I'll trade Reed something for it.
Oh, you're not going to be able to trade.
You're not getting
that.
I have a
you're not
foil
getting that
cam.
Leviathan.
I got a foil cam.
That Leviathan is like his favorite card.
Yeah. All right. I wasn't even there, and I know that he has not given up that card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I just heard the other day from his mom that she's like, he loves that card. He loves it. And I was like, oh,
that's sweet.
So
yeah, that's great.
Anyway.
Well, I'll have to look through my Hercules collection to see if maybe we got something to trade. I know that kid's favorite movie is Hercules. We'll find something. We'll trade Kirsten's Along Came Zeus. What? She won't watch this. It won't matter. So it's Shark Manor, no Hiram, so we got a little extra room for some stuff in here. We play the very classic ramp on 2 Tipo Sail. We play Tala and Cinderella, 4-cost Indy, uninkable, also ramps. On turn 4, we're still going to be singing that How Far I'll Go. We've got Popsicle Vitalosphere, and then a 1-of Carpet Bag to recur them. Actually, some of the lists I was looking at didn't have mana at all, but I kind of really, nostalgia, so I added 2 manners into my list. But develop, vision.
Did you find any success with mana? Was it worth putting those in, or?
Yeah, it's not bad against certain decks. It's really nice to just be able to be prep and then slam a mana down, and force them to kind of have an answer for it. But half shark, B preps, some of the new tools, the newest, best tool, the only 4 of really, is going to be this Olaf Snowman of Action, which is actually really fitting because the more actions you have in your discard, the cheaper he is, and when you bring him down, they lose 2 lore. So you've got 4 Olafs, 2 Pirate's Life, and then Infinity Pirate's Life given the Maui Half Shark.
And he's basically he's your tool. And there's a lot of reasons, but the fact that he can come down and you're talking about slamming mana down, he can sing the Be Prepared, leaving all your ink, completely unexerted and ready for you to just reload the board after you do that. So it was harder in the past, I think, with the Ruby Sapphire because you're most of the time hard casting Be Prepared and then getting it back with Shark and everything later. That was your turn if you're up against a really fast deck. But the fact that you can get Olaf out so early now and enabling you to sing the Be Prepared is just absolutely disgusting.
Well, you really do only have 12 actions that you're playing. Basically, 16 that you're playing sort of off rip. The develop, the vision, the sail, and then like the how far I'll go. But you definitely aren't spamming actions as much as you are in a deck that is built specifically around it. Olaf, I think, is a much better late game tool to be able to just simply remove lore off the board. Which actually, I am trying 1-of Nani's Payback. So 4-cost action. Each opponent loses lore equal to the damage on chosen character of yours to a maximum of 4 lore each. Draw a card. So, Maui hero to all into something. Play the Nani's Payback. Tamatoa, Half Shark, even Olaf, Maleficent, Scar, Leviathan. There's a Leviathan in here. They can all hold up to 4 damage relatively easily. So it's nifty. Worst case, it draws a card. It's an action, gains a lore with the shark. It was mostly ink in my experience, but Yeah, it does. We do have the one of Leviathan, which is kind of nice. It gets around Pete along with Scar, so it's like Leviathan and Scar, like the two Maleficent, I guess, as well. But like Leviathan and Scar are the two big like board wipe that get around Pete instead of like a Sisu. The Leviathan works really well with popsicles. So if you have two popsicles on board, you just banish both popsicles and then play the Leviathan for 10 and its ability gets off. So this idea of having to like get two cards in the discard is actually a lot easier than you might think with something like Popsicle. Even if you don't have just like a spare develop or two lying around in your hand.
Yeah.
You're also ramping an extra lot with Cindy and How Far I'll Go. You should have plenty of cards in hand with Grandma Tala. And cards like Tamatoa to bring them back. Everything's sort of just recurring itself. And then eventually you'll get to your carpet bag and you'll play your carpet bag and then you'll just be able to draw forever.
Yeah, the carpet bag seems especially critical though for card draw here. Do you find that one is fine? I mean, I guess you have enough tools to dig through your deck.
Yeah, you never really want more than one. You never really need more than one. And it's also kind of awkward to get out 5 cost. You usually want to get it out for free with the Tamatoa. But just Cindy and Tipo being the only way to like get this out of your hand makes it kind of awkward.
This deck looks very similar, if it's not the same, that you played on Deck Test Tuesday a few weeks ago. But did you have? I thought you had Dime in that deck. Did you have Dime in that deck or no?
I might have had a Dime. I was testing the Dime in the deck. It just meh. You're not playing the Tamatoa. You're not spamming the items. You're not playing. I've played the items version of Ruby Sapphire this set, and with the workshops and things like that. But I don't know. I just I don't think you really need the Dime, and it's just another card that you have to like get out of the way if it's in your hand. We're already running 13 uninkables. And you kind of want to be able to play like all of them essentially. Even only having one Scar and one Leviathan, kind of rough because I can't ever just like throw it away on a Cindy or something like that if I ever want to keep it for for later. So but yeah, I feel like the deck still just kind of churns along and all of the cards are good or get you to a good card essentially. They're all very versatile in what they can do. A lot of your characters are not sort of like mission critical. There aren't these characters that if you like play them and they don't survive, you just kind of lose the game. Your Diablo, if you think about that, you get the shift Diablo down and you quest that. If you lose your Diablo, I mean, like you have invested a lot. If you lose your Diablo immediately, oh man, you've invested so much into that. That's 2 characters off the board. That's the card you threw away to shift. It's just there's not really that here, right?
So talk us through your matches then that got you to win this event. Like what decks did you play against? Were there any struggles? What does this deck struggle against? What is its strengths?
Yeah, the first deck I played against was our friend Craig. Shout out Craig. He was on Emerald Steel Mickey Mouse, which
the big one,
the big one.
Yeah.
So he played like Sticky Mickey, and I was like, okay, I haven't seen Sticky Mickey in a while. Interesting. And then he played the 2-cost Mickey that buffs the Sticky Mickey. It's like, man, that's a lot of Mickey Mouse. Cool. And then eventually he played the green Hades. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was like, wait a minute. I know what's happening here. I know what's going on. We're about to turn one of these little Mickeys into a big old Mickey. So I went ahead and, B-prepped that pretty quick. We got rid of that. Yeah, we're getting rid of that real quick. So I got fairly lucky in those matchups. Basically, the times where when he set it up, either I was able to stop it with something like a B prep. There was one I got lucky. I top decked the B prep, but I also had the Scar sitting by, and he was deciding on whether or not to quest with one of the Mickeys. I was like, do it. Then I can clear all your Mickeys. And I wouldn't have been able to get the Hades, but I would have been able to clear the Mickeys that were exerted. And I was hoping that would be enough. But like I said, I top decked the B prep, so it's kind of better lucky than good. But those were fun matchups. Then went outside for some fresh air, and Kirsten was like, I forgot B preps in my deck. We built the deck, played on Deck Test Tuesday. We realized there's no B preps. We were like, that's funny. We played a whole best of 3 with no B preps. We forgot that. And then she forgot to fix it before this tournament and decided to play it. And then realized that halfway through her round 1 that she had no B preps. And so I was like, oh, well, that's funny. Good luck.
Yeah.
Round 2
Don't tell
pairings are up.
anybody.
Yeah. Hunter
They're all
goes.
going to assume. Yeah.
Yep. Hunter goes. Round 2 pairings are up. I sit down across from Kirsten and I go, oh, well.
You always do.
She's got no B preps, so this is pretty free. So I basically knew that she went wide. I keep the locations to a minimum, clear her board with a B prep, and then when I sort of got close to turning the corner, there was like one game where I just played a Leviathan, and I think I cleared like 2 things with it. It wasn't a max opportunity. In fact, I might not have even cleared anything with it, but I just played a Leviathan, and I'm like, she can't get rid of it, right? Like it's a 10-10 that's going to quest for 3 forever for her, and there's no B preps here.
By the way, she's on Ruby Amethyst for those.
Yeah, she's on Ruby Amethyst. Yep. So this is a Ruby Amethyst with no B prepared, and so.
I mean, I guess she could have tremained it, but that would count on you not having anything else on board.
So that would have been her best scenario, but like essentially the Ruby Amethyst matchup, if they do have B prep, can kind of come down to like a relatively skill matchup. They're gonna be able to draw a ton of cards. You're gonna be able to have a lot of answers, and they're gonna have to draw more cards to find their answers, I think, for your deck than you will for theirs necessarily. You're gonna ramp much higher up and start playing things like Shark much faster. But in my experience, I've actually found that like if they play their resources well, I can run out of character resources. You only have so many characters, and there's been 2 or 3 games out of probably 50 that I've tested on, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but is actually a decent enough percentage that I'm just like, the character density, the lore pip density in the deck is not high enough to necessarily go the distance all the time. I mean, right? If you go to the last 10 cards in your deck, it is sometimes can be. I have played Vision and looked at all 10 cards remaining in my deck and realized that I'm at 14 lore and I have 2 T-Pos in hand and a Maui hero to all on the board, and I'm just like, how am I going to quest these T-Pos for the next 6 lore that I need to win this game? It just doesn't exist. I don't have the characters.
Right. Well, but I think this is ultimately like why something like Manor is good in your deck, because it is kind of the one option that is somewhat more challenging for the Ruby Amethyst player to deal with.
Yeah, and you have those other abilities too, like with the Shark will get you the lore, the Olaf, extends the game.
Maui plus
Pirate's Life
clears one.
I mean, there's some options.
Yeah,
I'm not saying there are no options.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, I think this goes back to our kind of discussion last week a little bit about sneaking a little Krabby Crab into the into the Ruby Amethyst. But yeah, Ruby Amethyst is a tough matchup. But I was able to win that one. And then round 3, I played against Emerald Amethyst. This was Jesse
another local in the TCS area. He was on basically Oops All Evasives, Diablo, and that matchup ultimately came down to outing the Shark. I don't play Brawl, so I don't have a great answer for the bird. In fact, I really don't have an answer for the bird other than Shark.
It's interesting. I just realized that you don't have Brawl in there.
No Brawl. I can just.
Do you ever come into a situation where you think you need it, or no?
Yeah, but then I just don't, because the bird decks don't go as fast, and you can ramp to B prep much quicker. And half your cards aren't draw anyway; they're just putting it into your hand. How far I'll go: Grammatala, Vision, Develop, and then it's like, if I play the Shark, their only real outs are if they're playing it the Bruno, or if they have the combo, the lever combo, right? Pull the lever, wrong lever. And so it's you just stick a Shark and then have a backup Shark, essentially. Like, you prioritize having your Sharks, because then they're like, whole board can't turn sideways, because you'll just chain like Pirate's Lives, and then you stick a Shark that like stops them dead in their tracks, and now you just play like all of your actions. You chain a bunch of actions to get a bunch of lore. It allows you to get to something like B prep, and then Olaf. You keep them off lore. So I find that they get going relatively quickly. They draw a lot of cards. It gets really scary, but then either you get to B prep them, or you get to freeze their board with a Shark, and from there, they also really have a hard time with mana. So adding more manners for that matchup, if you felt like it was better, would be nice. Some of them might run the Genie, the green Genie, that gives everyone +2, which might make manners a little easier to clear. They obviously still run the bounce package, which is decent.
And I mean, in that deck, they're not running really. In that deck, they're not really running any discard, so you're not really worried about the Prince John.
Yeah.
How do you think this deck would handle against a Prince John deck?
The Ruby Amethyst, the Ruby Sapphire. Sorry. Yeah, it's not great. It's not. You just got to go for B prep, right? If it's steel, then it's rough because they can Pete you and they can Ursula you. If there's no Pete, then their only option is Ursula. So you try and find it later. Maui.
Not just Pete. They got really the new action too, right? The Ancient Ways. Is that in
Ancient
decks?
Ways. Maui. Both Maui.
What does Ancient Ways do again?
It's Pete
blocks
as
items
action.
and actions.
Okay.
2-cost song that blocks items and actions. Yeah, it could be rough. Obviously, like, if you just get discarded out, like, it's real bad. But you just drop your high cost characters, and then your high cost cards, and you just keep playing your early game, and then you'll ramp to like 6 or 7, and then you'll be able to play anything off the top, essentially. Hope you can crawl back into it. I haven't had too much experience into it. Amber Steel is a really tough matchup for this one. They can wheel you to death. They can go really, really wide and Pete lock you for a really long time. That could be a tough one. I didn't play against that.
Yeah, I guess the one thing you've got going for you against the discard deck too, though, is assuming they don't discard all your Olafs, sometimes by putting cards into your discard, especially your actions, you can put the Olaf down.
So you don't care about actions or items going to the discard because you have Maui, Half Shark, and Tamatoa, so you can bring them back later.
Yeah,
you need
so
to.
There's some. And you've got, and plus, because you've got the Olaf, the Nani's Payback, and a Pirate's Life, which we haven't mentioned, you've got ways in which reducing your opponent's lore. So I guess a question I have for you is like, in any of these matches so far you've played, in variants of this deck in testing, how much lore has your opponent gotten to? And then you've been able to claw back the win.
I don't know. I mean, like, easily, I know I've won where they've gotten to like 17 or 18, maybe even 19. But I know against against Kirsten specifically, one of the games I played 3 Olafs for free in the same turn, and she went from 5 lore to 0 lore. And then I was hoping she wouldn't, but she did quest once during her turn, because then I won the next turn, and my goal was to bring her down to 0 before before then winning the game. So I didn't just win. My opponent had 0 lore, I'd like to point out. But yeah, so it is pretty disgusting.
Andy going for a tiebreaker that doesn't exist in the game.
Yeah, and I guess if you think about it, like late games, like those, the almost not not like the buzzer beater necessarily, but the last chance to stay in the game when the peak comes down. It's not it's not just B prep they shut down. It is the Pirate's Life that they shut down. It's the looking for those cards that they shut down. And so Olaf is, a replacement to that Pirate's Life to be able to still siphon away that lore. Also, it being low cost and free in the late game means that when we do get to those turns where they could potentially, not Madame Medusa, Lady Tremaine, the other lady in the chair, you could play your Leviathan or your Maui Shark or something, and an Olaf for essentially nothing, right? Like, just pennies on the dollar, ink on the dollar. And so it's a really, it's a nice tool along with like Scar and Leviathan, to help protect you against these cards like Pete and now Ancient Ways, even the ones that snag actions, right? Lenny, Ursula, Bare Necessities, they can stop B prep, they can stop, the Pirate's Life, but they can't stop Olaf, they can't stop Leviathan, they can't stop Scar. So you need some more of these sort of alternative removal options.
So here's the big question after all this deep dive into it, which I really do appreciate. The people probably want to know, would you take this to Indy? Are you confident with this being your main event deck at Indianapolis, or would you make any tweaks to it?
I would definitely make some more tweaks to it. I'm at a point now where I am trying to gain a bunch of more reps on another deck so that I have sort of 2 that I can feel comfortable on. I feel confident on this one. I have a lot of reps. At this point, I would take the list into the team think tank, the competitive team, and just say, okay, help me put together the exact 60. Let's try and find something that replaces Nani's Payback. Is there something better? Is Leviathan actually good enough, right? Do we go 2 Scars, right? Do we, just tweak some of those numbers? And then I think the other one, which maybe we'll save for next week, although I think next week maybe we talk about core because it'll be right before set champs. But, for another
or maybe
time,
we don't spend 40 minutes answering a question.
Maybe we could do both. Maybe we could do both. But in another segment, we'll discuss the other deck that I've been playing, which is honestly the most fun deck in this set for me, for Infinity right now, is the Baja items, the Emerald Sapphire items.
Lucky Rabbit. Yeah.
Man.
Which with the Oswald. Is it any good? Is it good?
It's so good. It feels very like
disgusting,
high end, intellectually good, right? You have to, it feels like when you win with it that you're like, I'm Magnus Carlsen and I just freaking beat the AI computer and sit down, Gary Kasparov.
That is such a deep reference that I think only our audience will get because you're a bunch of nerds. Like,
but But yeah, I like that deck. I think it is really neat. It has, good good matchups, good play lines. It's a ton of fun. It's another one of those decks like you were asking, where they get to a very scary number of lore and then just like,
rat trap. Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
rat trap,
Yeah.
or just like you're never gonna get another lore again.
Yeah.
Like you're just done right there. And or you gave me one too many turns, right? And so now I'm going to Tamatoa for 20.
Yeah, because as I say, that's a deck where you can go from literally 0 to 20 in one turn.
I almost do that more than like you do that.
Yeah.
It's not one of those decks where that like the combo. The Monstro combo was a deck where you had that and you could go to 0 to 100 and 0 to 20 just win. But the deck, I think more often than not, just won by being a good pile of cards that worked well to get like a good mid-range deck. This deck, you surprisingly, you do the combo, you do the thing that you do more often, and half of the time, it's like they are barreling towards 20 lore, and you are just in the driver's seat, just don't know what to do, and you just realize that like if you
because that deck doesn't really interact. It's not meant to interact with your
very
opponent's
minimal.
deck. It's meant to do its thing, which is play as many items as you can vomit onto the board.
Yeah.
And
what are you doing over there? Oh, I don't care. Never mind.
Yeah, it's like I don't like. And then you're like looking for like a handful of very few cards, and like the real problem for your opponent in that deck is unless they're running something like I'll find them, I'll flatten them, which they're not. At least
might be.
They are.
Might be.
I've gotten my first 3 items flattened, and then I played an Ursula, which I also run in that deck, and wouldn't you know
Took
it,
the other one.
They had another one in their hand. I'm like, this degenerate is running. I find them, I flatten them. Not one.
He is running the
2.
one card that
they run
beats
2,
me,
and they have 2 of them in their hand. Whoa, this is insane. So
I'm telling you,
it'll exist out there,
Discord.
but it's not enough to matter.
Yeah, I did forget that you could rip it with the Ursula. So that is nice that you've got that ability, because that is like the one card that could really, if they got it at the right time, could really ruin
this deck. Like,
day.
I'm not kidding, Vince. This deck is getting more popular. And I said in the Discord today, I'm like, it's a realistic chance that people are going to be teching with Find 'em on Flatten because of this deck, because it just nukes it. At the right time, it takes everything away from you. But it's the one card that does it.
In the competitive team practice, we did some meta analysis, and we were crunching some numbers and looking at some things, and what we found seemed to be a trend of the higher end of players, if you will, were playing like Baja is a very difficult deck to play, and it only like, I'm not trying to make it sound like it's elitist or anything like that this deck is, but it's not a deck like the Dogs deck, Snowfort Dogs or Cherna Dogs, where it does require a lot of skill to play, but it also can sometimes not require a lot of skill to play. You can just kind of accidentally win. You can, that deck, if you are very committed to Disney Lorcana. I know some players who have played other card games and are diving into Disney Lorcana, and even though they're new, even though they're still learning a lot of things, they play a deck like a Dogs deck, Snow Dogs, Cherna Dogs, and
No dogs.
They win games even though they're making a bunch of mistakes. They learn from those mistakes, and then they learn the complexities that are these Dogs decks, and then are able to do even more powerful things with them. Whereas I think Emerald Sapphire items, like this deck looks like the worst deck you've ever played if you don't get it. If you don't do the if the Plinko ball doesn't fall the exact right set of decisions to get it, it can be a very unforgiving deck. High risk, high reward, in my opinion. But I do think, at least in what
it's a lot of fun though. It is a blast to play. It's probably one of the most fun decks I've ever played in Disney Lorcana. And that says something because you all know how much I love Emerald. Big Emerald fan. Any last thoughts before we go to everyone's favorite segment? All right, it's that time for your favorite segment.
Villain of the
week. Thank you, Vince. Apologies to Gantu. We have Olaf, Snowman of Action, a 9-cost inkable 4/4 quest for 2 Storyborn ally, a rare card with the abilities About Time. For each action card in your discard, pay 1 ink less to play this character, and Chaotic Collision. When you play this character, each opponent loses 2 lore. Art by Lauren Levering. We've talked a lot about this card already, but the one thing we didn't say was how cute these little snow people are that are running around him, the little snow babies.
Yeah, until you see them haunting you in your dreams because you lost all of your allure to these happy snowman.
Yeah, those little snowman run off the card over to your opponent and steal the lore. Actually, they don't steal the lore, but they delete the lore.
Yep.
Yeah. I've seen this card. Andy, you have the most experience with it. I have the most, not don't say the most experience against it, but a lot of experience against it. That card coming out, as I talked about earlier, just enables so much in these decks, especially with being able to sing higher cost songs. But in the action heavy deck, which we didn't even talk about, the Robin Hood version of this deck, this card comes out so fast. So fast. You're looking at a 9-cost character on the board before turn 5. Even.
Yeah, turn 4 you could potentially get this down.
Turn 4 you can get it down. And the joke about it all is this card is inkable. So if you're not getting your whole thing going at all, and it's just not working, you can just ink this guy and drop a Maui time or something, whatever you want on turn 5. But it's insane how much this card has shot up in the last 2 sets. We're just seeing him in every Ruby Sapphire deck almost.
I mean, a lot. I've seen Andy play it for free. So it's a free, basically, 4/4 quest for 2, lose Pirate's Life. Well, not quite a Pirate's Life, but the reducing lore part of a Pirate's Life. That is a good card.
Yep.
Good card.
Like I said, I love about it comes out for free alongside whatever you want to play, so you can protect Lady Tremaine against the Lady Tremaine if you need to. The other thing that is not was probably not put into the card by the game devs as a design feature, but if you hold on to these cards, they're really good in the late game. So if you can, you hold on to them in your hand. And there's been many games where I've held on to 1, 2, 3 of these Olafs, and they're at 12 lore and they've got 4 on board or something. You could play 1 Olaf, but you don't. You do other stuff, keep going further, and then they're at 16 lore, and then you play 2 Olafs back to back in the same turn. I feel like there is some value to the intimidation or the demoralization of your opponent by just they have this feeling of check, right? We're putting you in check. We are saying I have story on board. I have Lorthal on board. My ink is drying. This tale is about to be told. And you're just you know what?
We're going back to the first chapter.
Yeah, let's back up a little bit. Back it up. Back it up now, y'all. And then the other
more this time.
I've said this about the Ruby Sapphire actions list as well, is that they lose 2 lore, they get tilted, and then what they don't they still like you don't realize this is a 4/4 that quests for 2. So if you're playing 2-3 of these in the same turn, you're now threatening 6 more lore potential, 4-6 more lore the very next turn, and it's just like, wow, this is really brutal. And so the card fits really, really well in Ruby Sapphire. Even if you aren't playing this insane influx of actions, you're playing a shark amount of actions, right? An appropriate amount to be able to gain lore off the shark and get good value off of him. And the only like sort of negative I see, if you want to even call it that, is you just have to make sure you watch the sequencing, right? If you have a shark and an Olaf, make sure you're playing the Olaf when you have the actions in your discard before you recur them with your shark to then do something with it. But Olaf made me even want to play dig a little deeper in the Ruby Sapphire actions build.
Just sing it.
Probably a little greedy. Yeah, but in the Ruby Sapphire, like the non-shark manner, the core one I played last set, the action heavy, the like 47 action deck or something like that. Stop. Olaf sings dig a little deeper. But now think about this. You get a Lilo, the Ruby Lilo, or the Next Stop Olympus. You see that in one of the 7 cards. And maybe another dig a little deeper. So you got both of those. You play the Next Stop Olympus. You play the Lilo. You ready the Olaf. You sing the other dig a little deeper. You've now sung 2 dig a little deepers with the same Olaf that you played for free the turn before.
And now we have gone into magical Christmas land.
No, this is like very real scenarios that happen with the action, like the super action heavy version of this list.
I would have to
different
see it
falls. It has different falls.
Believe it, but okay, I'll take your word for it. Let's do our artist showcase.
Artist showcase. Lauren has 6 cards in the game, dating all the way back to set 2 with Hypnotize, which we just talked about a little bit off the air. But yeah, 6 cards: Hypnotize, Magic and Dispel at a super rare. We got a Minnie Mouse, another Olaf from set 4, the Carrot Enthusiast, the evasive Violet Saberwing, and of course the card of the hour, Olaf, Snowman of Action. I'll have a link to their Instagram in the description below if you want to check out more art by Lauren.
It's awesome. Before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at the Snuggly Ducklings, who some of them are going down to the CCS in Houston this coming weekend, probably on their way as you're listening right now. And so I want to wish good luck to our good friends there, specifically Ron Reckless and Lady Britt. So check them out and give them good wishes. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. If you're joining us on audio, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
And if you're joining us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified of all of our content. We've got that 100th episode coming up. We need 1,000 subscribers. We are legitimately getting closer than we were before. I think that's a factual statement. So please continue to share this with all of your friends. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week, right?
Yeah, don't make Andy a liar. 1 sub gets us closer, and that will make him correct. We understand your time is valuable, so we appreciate you spending some of it with us. If you'd like to follow along as we plot our devious plans, you can find us on all the socials at Rules of Villainy. We also have a growing community on Discord, which you can join with the link below.
Until next week, stay safe, fellow villains. Be wary of those wannabe heroes who want you to not subscribe to our channel, which you should absolutely not listen to them and subscribe. And as always, remember the rules of villainy.
Should not listen to those wannabe heroes.
Do we not subscribe because we didn't listen to them?
Oh, this is gonna be a thing. This is like, but it's already too late. I can't. I can't reel him back in. He's gone. Don't let Andy make this a thing at the end of the episode.